Being incarcerated came abrupt in my life, and it was a real game changer for me. That 8 months was the worst time of my life that I had, being only being incarcerated, not the time of it, because I saw a lot of other inmates needing help.
Welcome to Just a Conversation, where we discuss the topics that matter to you. I'm Michael Alcott, here with Aisha Reed, and today we're talking about second chances. We're joined by Prince Pilgrim, Curtis Bascombe, and Glenroy Babb, three men who've lived the impact of incarceration and are now building new paths for others through education, entrepreneurship, and community work. From stigma to solutions, this episode is about what it really takes to break the cycle and start again. Today we are talking about reform, incarceration, second chances.
And the stigma attached
and
to things.
Yeah, so I know all of you guys have different stories, but since we've heard a bit about your stories before, let's start with the new guy,
Prince.
Tell us a
Good
bit
morning.
about your journey and how the experiences you've had have led you to where you are today.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank all of you for this opportunity to have a contribution to the conversation of this magnitude. For me, my journey began based upon when I was incarcerated as a youth. I was absent something that was like longing in the position of like my growth and my development. And one of the things that inspired me was when I actually came across a psychiatrist who was actually focused on developing black psychology at the time. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that she had basically inferred me into was being aware of my condition as far as being a recipient of the trauma of slavery. Mm-hmm. And that we had to actually push from an agenda of freedom that was actually beneficial, seeing myself as an asset to the community more so than a liability. Mm-hmm. So I started to make the Afrocentric studies, because a lot of things that really like helped me ground myself was the ideas that built the community of black people as Africans, which was one of the proverbs that we have is it takes a community to raise a child. Correct. And that resonated with me heavily because it acknowledged that I was a part of a group that was essential towards my life as a black person. Mm-hmm. And it put me in the position of being an asset to other black people as far as being a black man in the position of being a provider, a protector, and constructively an element to the growth and development of the village at the time. Mm-hmm. So thinking in the village mindset, my idea of reform was basically come back to an environment that welcomed me back and not just acknowledge that I was back. That way I can see myself as being a constructive participant with people who actually wanted me to be there, mm-hmm. and then basically like supported me or guided me through the process of being there. And for the most part, recognizing how we as black people has been removed from that basic thinking of cultural identity, it was hard for me to basically come back out and identify with people who have not on an individual level as well as a collective level taken on this journey of redeveloping themselves as conscious-minded black people, mm-hmm. in terms of dealing with the issues and the situations around them at this particular time. So it was difficult to say the least in terms of my reintegration. Mm-hmm. But because of my allegiance, some brothers who have experienced the journey of psychological enslavement, mm-hmm. I was able to find culturally a lot of brothers that was saying to themselves, look, this is a real thing that we should really focus on, so that we can actually say to ourselves on a realistic level that we're giving back to the community opposed to we just being back. Mm-hmm. And that kind of phrase that me and brother Glenroy we used to always like go back and forth with, in acknowledging that we didn't just want to be back in the community, we want to be welcomed back, mm-hmm. into the minds and hearts of people that actually missed us. Right. And the nucleus of that basically is dealing with the family. because the family is like your blueprint to what the community is supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? And if your family household isn't together, it's very hard to walk out there into the community and feel the same type of love generated out there, or receive a love that is parallel to what you already feeding inside of your family circle. So that journey was is still considered to be, difficult for the most part, but it's something that I commit myself to, because I understand now my place. In the order of my universe, in my life, in terms of being in existence as a black man and being surrounded by the wealth of black people, in terms of our journey, in terms of reforming our way of thinking and reforming our relationship with each other.
You mentioned earlier that your therapist, you would have spoken to a therapist, and that's what helped you. How much would you say that being able to access somebody like a therapist would have changed your outlook from where you would have originally came from?
Well, like I said, when you root it in the concept that it takes a village to raise, a child, you're looking at therapy from all different aspects. Every single person on a social level that builds a culture is basically like each other's therapist. My friend is my therapist. My mother's my therapist. My sister. These people who actually like sit with me and counsel me about putting my mind together before I engage in the act or conduct. So what the black therapist did was she put the cultural aspect to it, because that's what I think there's a lot of black people, especially the youth, is really missing. An identity to allow them to see themselves in a more constructive way, opposed to the alleged identity that's being promoted. When you hear certain songs like Bad Gal and Bad Boy, so it's like, because that's not a real cultural foundation for a lot of black men. They have to grab onto things that they think that can make them identify with themselves, and therefore that identification will give them value.
Okay, right. It's just really good to hear mentioning therapy, because I know a lot of people in our diaspora in general don't really
even believe in it.
Don't think that is beneficial. So it's good to hear that. Glenroy, yes, tell us give us a set the scene for you for this episode.
Yes, please.
Tell the people.
Yes, please. Thanks. Left Barbados at a younger age. Very stable household. Mother, father, sisters, brothers. Went overseas to New York, and thereafter I found myself, engaging in activities and behavior that went contrary to my upbringing. Not that I was forced to, but at times it is finding some kind of allure in it. It'd be an illusion, actually, when you really start and reflect back on it. And started getting in trouble, start going to the system, Rikers Island, come out. The next thing you know, I found myself in a position where I ended up doing an extensive amount of time in prison. One of my greatest things, and I don't like to say going through, I like to say growing through the system, was, again, touching to what Prince said, getting in tune with myself, understanding that it takes that village, it takes that community, it takes that support to be able to say, well, I can't do it on my own. I need help. And at times I feel that's one of the hardest things we can say as a black man, a black woman, that I need help.
Right.
And the help started coming in so much different ways that I said yes. So before I left the system, I call myself a community-ready man, even though I was physically incarcerated. Why? Because my mindset showed that, and prepped myself to hit the ground running when I came to Barbados. So that's just a lead up as to that, and we will go obviously a little bit more further.
Yeah.
Curtis.
Right, Curtis.
Over to you.
Yes,
Morning. My interlude with being incarcerated came abrupt in my life, and it was a real game changer for me, because I was well on my way in the community of Barbados to being a standing citizen by helping out the children at schools and what's not, by taking them on tours with the marine environment. And I was very, very into it. I was looking forward every time it was a interview to be done with the government. I was there for it, and it was going very well. And then all of a sudden, something came up within my journey, And actually, it could have ended up total different ways too, but I was incarcerated for 8 months. And as I spoke already on the other interview, that 8 months was the worst time of my life that I had, only being incarcerated, not the time of it. Because I saw a lot of other inmates needing help. And the first thing they had to do was to try to help themselves by being able to listen and understand the situation that they were in. A lot of guys right now incarcerated and don't really know the situation that they're in, because being incarcerated, it puts a stigma on you when you are there incarcerated, and when you are released is a stigma on you because of incarceration. And you have to know your abilities before you even speak and get angry with the world for being incarcerated, because it's first your choice to be there. Is how you deal with it, how you deal with the after effects of it, and prepare on the going forward for it. Because if you act shy and afraid of the community because you were incarcerated, it means it's an easy road for you to go back there again, because things that are supposed to be done with sense, you're not going to think before you do things, and you're just going to get well and do things. So it's a faster journey there. Without reform and without acknowledging that you did something wrong, accept it and take up from there and go. Your first route is the people that you approach. You can't just leave incarceration and go and approach the streets. The streets are not for you if you just came from there. As Prince said, counseling. Mr. Babb here was my counselor within the penal system, and it worked. It definitely worked. And as I keep telling him all the time, never stop from doing his work, because he does an excellent job on it. I had guys around me that what you call somebody the cruelest guys in Barbados. And some of them would cry if they couldn't get to go to his council meetings every 2 weeks within the jail. So being part of it, right, and understanding where he is coming from, because I knew him before the penal system, but I never knew that that's what he did. I never knew. And when I went to the class the morning and I saw who it was coming to the class, I felt good. I felt a different change and want to see there's somebody that I know that is reaching out to the guys in there, because as I said, the guys need help. No one can survive in jail and get a regime put on them every day that they're the worst piece of substance on the earth, and you got to be locked away from people. How can you come out then after such and respond to people? You're going to respond to the same elements that put you in the first place for the embracing, because the rest of the community don't have it. They don't have it for you.
One moment made you guys realize on the inside that you had to make a change. This is out to the table, so whoever wants to tackle it.
I will go. I remember it was at a point in time where I was still embracing the whole idea of change. And I got into a physical altercation that turned out real serious inside. And I was faced with additional time. And going in front of a judge again in the courthouse, I asked myself, what do you want for yourself? We just always hear these sayings growing up, but when you experience it and witness it, it takes on a whole different dimension. Trouble is easy to get into, but hard to get out. Then I looked, I had a family that loved me, that support me. And I asked myself, if not at least for me, at least for them. That's when it started.
And you were incarcerated overseas as well too, or?
Yes, ma'am.
So what made you decide that I'm not coming back here?
Well, I have to say one of the things that was really empowering towards my change was just being able to maintain contact with family. You know, they kept me grounded, you know, saying in being something more than just an incarcerated person. You know, saying a couple of friends also helped me create like that spiritual lifeline to let me know that, you know, saying you're still valued out here. We're still looking for you to come back out here. So we leaving it to you to make a real serious choice with your life and yourself. And like I said, my therapist wasn't just, you know, saying the lady I came across, but it was all these people that really created the foundation for me to actually sit back and really say to myself, you know, saying that what I want my life to be like. After reading, you know, saying countless, you know, saying people who have put their lives on the line for better options than imprisonment, you know, saying it made me like inspired me to become part of that circle. People like Malcolm X and Elijah Muhammad Ali, Bob Marley, all these individuals, you know, saying like start to resonate with me in a way that it make me realize that I was in the wrong place, you know, saying physically and spiritually and intellectually. So they helped towards, you know, saying my change on a realistic level. The more I read of them, the more I was captivated by the position, like if they was summoning me, you know, saying to do better with my life than where it was at.
What about you, Curtis?
Well, I really checked up on myself after having a lot of friends and knowing the lifestyle of some of the friends, you know, and because they be your friend, you grow up around them, you're still able to chat with them sometimes and get to hear sometimes what the things that really stressing them. And when you can speak to somebody and tell them something, at least a better road that you see they can take, and adhere to your speaking or your input, it makes you a little more grounded to see that you can do it. You can do it to anyone you come across. You can speak good intentions and speak good of them. You don't have to bash people because everyone has tendencies to do something what you call bad. All of us have bad traits, yeah, and we only tend to point fingers at the bad things that people do. People don't look into say, well, a person did 10 bad things last year,
Right.
and did one single good thing this year. They would bypass that very easy and go back to all the bad.
Yeah.
You know, so that weakens the individual. Any person, you could be in a pulpit preaching good word, and someone caught you even throwing a piece of paper out your window.
Just remember the bad.
They can remember that. They can remember the good words you speak in the pulpit in the morning. They always find something to point a finger at, to ridicule. So we got a whole society of people. All of us in here this morning have some family member, some friend, an individual that you have passed before in life, interacted with, that lost their life tragic through nonsense going on now in Barbados. All of the community can't sit back and let these things happen every day. A land of grief is what? A land of grief is a land of ugly people. Barbados is supposed to be a gem of the Caribbean.
Correct.
We have hospitality here in this Barbados unlike any other place in the world that I knew about. And it is not lost yet, but it is going down. And it's spiraling, going down. It's hard to hold it, to stop it, but there's ways to stop it.
Right.
And until all of us understand that, you can't point at him, he can't point at her alone. It campus every person on this rock stone. So therefore, we have to be able to got a group of people that have what you call intellect to go in communities and speak to people. And when the job is finished, go home to your door and lay down in your house and sleep comfortable, and don't think about one body. Think about you after you do that, because that is your mission. Going out and dealing with people. Every household in Barbados has problems. Everyone. Is how the problems are dealt with that make it manifest to something greater and worse. So if we can nip certain things in the bud from small, and as I said before, this is something I said in the last interview I had, start from home. You can't go out on the blocks and change nothing, because when you leave the block, unless you own the block that you're sleeping on it, you got to go to a house. You got to deal with a mother, a father, you got to deal with children, brothers, your siblings, you got to deal with. So you can't take it from off the street and when you go to the home for X amount of hours just to rest yourself, because people only really go to the home to rest.
Yeah.
Everything else happens outside of the home.
Right.
So you're gonna bring that event and just shut it off and go to your home and sleep comfortable. As you step out on off your property, you're going a different lifestyle. It don't make any sense.
Right.
So,
Can't relate.
so this is a good time to bring up the 4 R's: reform, rehabilitation, reintegration, and recidivism. What do those terms mean to you guys? And do you think that our system is really working to address those issues?
Well, in terms of the 4 R's, reform is a mandate. Because like I said, when you're talking about prison reform, you're talking about transforming people into becoming more accessible to the community, opposed to becoming something in opposition to the community. From my standpoint, I don't think that it is really supposed to be, due to the fact that the people that are supposed to be mostly involved in the reform should be the people coming out of prison who's trying to become assets to the community. So this should be spearheading reform based upon their own personal transformation to see themselves as community members, and therefore want to realign themselves with the community. So because they don't have a lot of programs of that magnitude here, there's a lot of people who are desensitized from the actual experience of being incarcerated and this actual relationship towards the redevelopment of the community, especially when you're talking about reintegration. Because I'm coming back as a member, not as a item of discrimination or item of prejudicial treatment.
Yeah.
And if I'm getting that means I don't identify as being part of the community.
Right.
So what we did was that we identified that need, that bridge. You know what I'm saying? We identified with that bridge that is needed from us to the community, and we started going about building these social circles and getting actively involved in these things to help perpetuate and support the idea of integration. As far as the issue of recidivism, we're very careful to approach that due to the fact that recidivism is basically individual, not the community, but the individual giving up on themselves in trying to be a community member based upon the community not identifying or giving up on them. And that's been a very a focal point for us because of the fact that these are now become the potential role models or leaders that will actually help perpetuate the cycle of incarceration opposed to terminating it. See, brothers like ourselves who had actually did time, we didn't did time in years. We did them in seconds. So we got a profound relationship with experience to know and understand what is beneficial and what is not beneficial to us and the community as far as developing that relationship. So our reintegration really was like focused upon becoming more of an asset than becoming a liability. Mind you, the word asset and liability for a lot of people is very vague in its definition, but they both share the understanding that if you're talking about establishing a connection that's beneficial to both people, that you will more likely want to be an asset more so than a liability in that relationship. And that's where we see ourselves as being on that level. The last R was, if I'm not mistaken,
Rehabilitation.
well, we could do rehabilitation. Rehabilitation, I like to focus on the fact that like I first entered into the conversation in terms of the Afrocentric way of thinking, and that's where a lot of us basically fall short at, because we don't have a real grounded Afrocentric way of thinking in terms of the prison itself. You got people reforming themselves more likely as better slaves opposed to being free-minded people. So better slaves now help perpetuate the cycle of incarceration. Better free-minded people, however, try to be able to create a resolution to that problem, because we are not assets in prisons, we are assets in the community. You know, so that's where we see ourselves belong at. So we are a liability in prison, but we really, really need to be an asset in the community.
community.
That's where we belong. And
Okay.
especially we deal with those issues.
If you don't mind, me
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
chime in a little bit. Reform, rehabilitation, recidivism, and reintegration. 4 R's of the Alliance of Reform-Minded Entrepreneurs that we hone in, focus on, and target. And each and every one of those require a degree of support. When you go up to DOTS, you have a sign on the left-hand side close to the bus stop. It says, working together to build second chances. Working together to build second chances. Is that in theory or is that practical? We're looking at the practical aspect of reform. What does reform look like? Reform looks like working together means everyone, all of the stakeholders, the persons working in the prisons, the persons that's in prisons, the courthouses, the lawyers, the judges, the
Families.
police, everyone working together because it's a community. And if you're missing a piece or element from that equation, what you're going to find, that missing piece is going to contribute eventually to some kind of default in the process. So reform needs to be collaboration, more collaboration. As I said it when we had our thing last time, I said the biggest room in the world is room for improvement. Anything we can improve on, we just got to focus and be practical about it. Rehabilitation, once there's proper reform, which rehabilitation is linked together, then a person leaves out the system with education, with vocational skills, things that are tangible that they can come out into society as a community member and be able to take those skills, take that education and parlay that into become a person in society now that can be viewed as being upstanding.
Right.
Good. The topic on recidivism, right? Now, all these 4 R's come in together, and a recidivist at the end of the day chooses to go and do something over again that put them in a problem before they even did it the first time. They were warned by parents, they were warned by friends, company, and what's not. This thing is not good. You went and sampled it, you got the first burning. Why would you want the second one? It's like a child going into the kitchen, the mother telling them, don't touch that, it is hot. Right? No matter even if the parent touch it and get burned and show the child, they don't register. Right? That first burn that they get though, they will never go to that pot again, even if it doesn't have flame underneath it.
Right.
They're not gonna touch the pot. But our prison system here in Barbados, because of experiencing it, Her Majesty's Dawes Prison is the biggest playground we have here for people to come into council and do their planning. If they don't get a hold of that part, you're going to always have people saying that they can't go, and the reason why they can't go is because a ton of the friends there in the same congregation.
Right.
They're able to sit down and talk about who missed out what while they was in there, and what a new person did before they come there, and what they will automatically do when they get out.
Yeah.
So if there's not a set of people to sit down with the so-called information that they have, that they get on people, and still put these people in a community among the one another, they're some of the biggest bosses we have, and they're controlling it from in there, because I was there. I saw it, I heard it, and I experienced it. We have people that have jobs to do here in Barbados when it comes to looking out for what you call the environment or the community. And if they take just a certain set of people to investigate or put criteria against and cry down, and leave another set out there untampered with,
Right.
what's gonna happen? It will always continue. There's not no peace here and none over there. It's all over. So we have to decide if we can take a stand and put certain things into place without thinking about the pointing fingers that it will get, because it has to be done. If it's not done, we're going to be forever having these talks. We're going to be ever having what's going on the street if there's not a stop to it. And as I told my guys here before this individual conversation we was having up front, there's ways to stop it, but you're not going to like it. He's not going to like it. Nobody's going to like the way that it can be done, but it can be done. So if we don't want that to happen, that make everybody come up with a gruesome face one morning, and all you capable or able to do by law is to get up out of your bed, go to work, come back home, no partying, no social events to go to. Who's gonna like that?
Right.
Nobody's gonna like it.
We get a taste of it with COVID.
Yeah,
and we
right.
didn't like it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So when it does do that, then we that won't be doing nothing on the street what you call illegal, we will automatically get scared, because it going embrace all of us when certain things got to happen. And it doesn't have to go there. It can start slowly by not pointing fingers at people. You have to listen to people sometimes, understand where people's situations come from, be able to give someone a response by a question to ask. Don't bring your problems to the table, your personal problems. Don't bring it to a table that is a meeting for something else, and start your meeting wrong with your personal problems. The mission is what you're dealing with. Get it done.
Right. Is that one of the reasons why you would have started your organization?
It's funny you just mentioned that, because that was brewing on top of my head. When I first came out to Barbados, I was part of an organization called the Barbados Youth Action Program, ran by two gentlemen there, Manuel Barilla and Lamoma Batson. Actually traveled with them to Trinidad. We went into the prisons in Trinidad, came back, and before I came out the system, I became a facilitator, certified facilitator, teaching anger management, all different things, re-entry, different things. So when I came back, I said, you know what, let me put together a curriculum based upon my life experiences and being a facilitator that addresses anger management, which the name the Benevolent Anger Project came out. In 2015, the Benevolent Anger Project started at 2 Mile Hill, going up the hill, 2 Mile Hill there, not too far from Alara Court. And it started as a response to, at the time, we had escalating violence in Barbados. It was getting some good feedback. Word got to someone in the prison that, come in, do something in the prison. I came in, was in the chapel, had about 80, 90 persons in the chapel, gave a 2.5 hour presentation, and they requested after that that I submit a proposal to be able to come into the prison to do anger management as is. They went through the vetting process. Shortly thereafter, I was approved, and I started going into Dodds Prison facilitating anger management as well as still doing community intervention. The first group that we had, it was completed, and from there, I told the guys that's serious, when you come home, give me a call.
Right.
Serious guys. Guys started coming home. I said, we need to start an organization out here. We put it into motion, started meeting, then we started raising money. Shortly thereafter, it took a little while to get officially registered, which the Alliance of Reform-Minded Entrepreneurs was registered on March 2nd, 2023. It's an organization that assists formerly incarcerated person and is a support system for those coming out as well as those in the community. I will say this and then I can move on. We was able to pool resources in a group where a lot of people say we couldn't do it, to be able to finally buy a truck that was drove off with a lot of a car dealership here in Barbados. A truck off the resources that we built. We're not looking for a handout, we're looking for a hand up. The best model you could ever see in life is a working model. We decided we're not coming looking to beg, we're looking to come to help support because there was a dire need to have an organization such as this, which is the first cooperative in Barbados that assists the formerly incarcerated. So that's just a short version of it. That's why I started.
Right. Stigma. How do we tackle stigma? How do we we don't want people coming out and going back, like Curtis said, into the old habits. But people have this innate worry, fear, even. How do we combat that?
Well, Prince, say again.
Yeah.
One of the honest ways we can actually combat stigma of being previously incarcerated is, like, I've been constantly champion the concept of how we look at ourselves as far as being a community member, and to encourage others to look upon us in that same fashion. Although it's very difficult for people to do that due to the fact that there's so much communities within the communities that is, like, it's very hard to find a base community where everybody can say, okay, I can identify you.
Right.
Not even in being Bajan, you know what I'm saying? Because for the most part, people say that because of the way how I communicate or how I speak, I'm not authentic. But I encourage them into understanding that most Bajans aren't authentic, because we Africans anyway. So we really don't have an argument in that issue. So, but the reality is that we do agree that because of slavery, we actually are Africans who were basically carried across the diaspora of, of having this traumatic experience, all these timelines, later. And therefore, we can understand from that basic, experience from our ancestors that we actually are a community. And that's the only stigma that we should be paying attention to. And if you use anything else, it's more like a diversity, or to put us in a position where we can't be of asset to people because they don't see us as being an asset. Because they create a stigma. So the best way that's what I have approached dealing with stigma, is that I try to make myself present and available to people that is of the community and of any encounter I go into, whether it be work or wherever, it's just to establish that you always have somebody there who'll be willing to actually sit and listen with you. Not mostly talk with you, listen, because I think most of the time people just need to be heard, just not be spoken to,
Is your past, would you say, something that you try to keep guarded, or you let people know what your history was like?
I have no guards against my life experience, because even if I don't tell you, you have access to the media source. They can always let you know what partially my past was like. So there's no need really to hide that. And as a grown man, I feel I have accomplished a lot with my life that I do have, in terms of being to this very moment where I can honestly say that I'm proud for my life experiences. So I don't have no regrets with them, because without them I won't be who I am. So for people to cherish and understand that person, they gotta understand it has a past too. You won't meet nobody in life where they don't have a past where either was good or bad, and the end result or end product is still a work in progress. So if you're a person who's a work in progress, then that won't be an issue for you. But if you're a person who's not a work in progress, that's gonna always be an issue.
That makes sense. Stigma.
Stigma. As I said before earlier in this interview, everybody goes through some kind of event, as in having tragedy come home to them, and other events that always give you a down spirit. Now, you'll be leaving home on mornings to get up to go to work. You prepare yourself, you're in a joyous mood, getting ready to go on to work. A news flash comes over. A person that you just maybe met the day in front, or a period of 2 to 3 weeks, and you and this person had a good interlude and spoke about a lot of different topics, and all the time you spent together was okay and good. Tragedy with this person this morning. You're not going to chips your mouth and just walk away and say, you can't really study that right now. You're going, even if you walk out with your phone in your hand and looking at this information that you got, and you're going to study it for a day, right? When you ask yourself why this thing happened, you're putting yourself further down in a hole, because you don't know the reason why, right? You're going to try to pick sides of why it shouldn't have happened. Maybe if you get to hear who did what, whatever, you're going to pick sides, and therefore you got another enemy there now that you never had before, because of what this person did to your friend or your mate, whatever, right? when you pick up that rage to go along with, you still not gonna confront this person to ask why they did it or whatever. You're gonna hold this rage within you. You're gonna throw the rage to your neighbor, your workmates. If you're catching a bus, the public transportation, someone in the bus going upset, hey, you're going to throw that same rage along the way. And you haven't started yet to find out why it happened, but you have rage. So therefore, look at the amount of people in Barbados right now that carry rage
Correct.
around with them, because a lot of families lost people. And it could have been different, but there was no resolve to little small petty things that happen to people. People take like the mash of a toe in a fence nowadays, and they're not working with the one another. Every person needs to be on top, looking down at people, and it cannot work. It can't work.
So the Benevolent Anger Management Project, I don't know that you talk about that. Do you think that is something that maybe needs to come out from just being at the prison, and maybe bringing it to like public communities?
It can be done.
Mm-hmm.
But what is going to happen? Because it is not nothing that you can get up and still think you can do on your own. We need backing for it. It can be done by me physically to walk anywhere in Barbados and go and speak. Because I speaking out of my mouth verbally. I can go anywhere and speak on a platform on the issue. Even if it's in an area that people think that you can't come into and speak, you can do it. Because that's all you're doing, is you're speaking on a topic. But when you go into an area now and you find a community that rejects you because you come in to speak good, then you know that's one of the first problem areas that you got to get to. Because anytime a listening ear rejects anything that is a good song, you have a problem.
Before you move on, I wanted to ask you a question. Based on the fact that you said that you have worked with a lot of children and stuff before your incarceration, how has the public accepted you back to mentor these young people again, or how has it been difficult?
Let me just add quick before you go that we posted a clip of you from the last show that you were on, and it went really, a lot of people were commenting on it, and they said that you should be talking to the kids in school.
Yeah, because I always grew up in a community around kids, and being a child myself, because I didn't born this way, none of us born this way. I was a child, so I know what a child is supposed to be when you are a child. I know how a parent is supposed to react to a child, and I know how a community is supposed to react with children. Now, my main thing that I used to do with children is actually every place I worked before, children always end up coming
Gravitating towards you?
Yeah, gravitated towards me. So, I mean, it wasn't hard. It became easy. So, when you can have a group of children, say you have a group of 30, 35 children to 40 children, and you can find 2 of these children in this group not responding like the rest, you go to these children early out and ask, what is the problem? Talk to me. There's ways that you can get children to say things that they don't even want to say to the parents, because they're scared to speak to the parents,
right?
Because the pinnacle that the parents living on, they can't say certain things, but they will say it to the one another out of anger. And if they find the wrong person as a mentor, the person will take advantage of them too. So you've got to know how to deal with children. If you don't know, there's books you can read to know how to deal with children, but to deal with children, it comes from within the heart. It is not a job to deal with children. I would never say it is a job. It's a life. Is a life duty to deal with children. And when you get that joy in your heart to see children happy and can open up and tell you what is a problem, I think you got part of your journey covered. Yeah.
The children are the future, right?
The future.
Yeah.
Let me add into what you just spoke about, the Benevolent Anger Project. And what we would say is that at one particular time, me and Prince, we actually had a clinical psychologist on board with us, who we developed a program that we was asked to develop by persons in government, that we gave the acronym Lifetime to life interventions for experiences that I might miss a couple of things there, but the acronym was Lifetime. And we submitted that, and we have different components of it. We had the anger management component, spiritual component, financial component, and we brought all of these things together for the simple fact of we saw it was a need. We also had meetings with the Army group, a few of the founders, with those at the AG office, again presenting programs, curriculums, things that we know can and will work. I've been volunteering at Dodge for years. I have close to about over 3,000 hours volunteering at Dodge. Been doing this for years. If I step outside of that, then it becomes something where, again, every person has to live, and the team has to also live. So it becomes a situation now where if the curriculum is provided, then the monetary assistance should be accorded to that, because we are doing something, we are helping, aiding, dealing with public safety and public health. And it's essential that we realize we can't put a dollar value on a human life. And some of us are putting dollar values on human lives, and that's wrong, because at the end of the day, it's going to be a lot of slow singing, a lot of flower bringing if certain things happen. So it becomes very much important that we understand, yes, this program, the Benevolent Anger Project, under the umbrella of the Alliance of Reform-Minded Entrepreneurs, yes, it has the ability. It started as a community project, and we're looking to do expansions also.
All right, we can get ready to wrap, but I wanted to give you guys the floor, or I should say the mic, the airwaves, to speak directly to the audience. Tell them what something you would like to leave with them going forward from your experience and looking at where we are today. Just whatever you,
or even a call to action, something.
I would like to start with a story. I always give this story to most of the youth, and I used to counsel them, because they used to deal with issue with anger management and stress, because most of these anger issues came from stress as far as growing and developing, and not having a proper guide in terms of understanding that they have to go through certain things, but you just don't go through it, you grow through it, because this is how life lessons are. A story I used to always start with is when this young child wanted to play with his father. And he's like, come on, Dad, come play with me. And the father was like, not now. And the child was like, come on, Dad, please come play with me. And out of frustration, the father looked around. He saw a magazine with a picture of the world. He ripped it out, ripped into small pieces, and gave it to the child and told the child, if you put this back together, I'll come play with you. It didn't take no more than 5 seconds for the kids to come back with the picture put together, which astonished the father, because he didn't expect the child to finish that soon. So he asked the child, how was you able to do this? And the child said, putting the world together was very difficult, but on the back of the picture of the world, there was a picture of a man. I put the mind together, and the world took care of itself. And this is why we made a commitment that regardless of what anybody say, regardless of the stigmas, regardless of the inconsistencies and the lack of self-confidence a lot of people have, we still have to maintain the fact that we got to put the mind together if we want to deal with worthy issues on any level. And this is why our level of devotion has become so focused, because we don't understand that the work we had to do with our own lives mean that we have to be patient enough to actually deal with others through their journeys and to their progression as well. So we try to encourage people, man, to grow through stuff, man, and not just become traumatized because you got to go through experience of life that's trying to give you a proper lesson in terms of what you're capable of, you know?
I love that story. I gotta tell my son that story.
I'm gonna let the hard-headed one go last, because this is my guy here. I got I think it's a regular DJ named Shano, and he had a song where he says he's alone in the dark room and he has nobody to talk to. It's just me, myself, and my shadow. I did a lot of shadow work. heavy lifting for years, close to 2 decades. I'm still doing a lot of shadow work because there's a need. From that, let me transition. I met a guy named Mr. Hudson when I was at the tail end of doing my time in New York. At the time, Mr. Hudson had in 45 years. He made the parole board his 14th parole board in 2010. He was originally given a death sentence, but the sentence was commuted to 20 years to life because they ruled the law that sentenced him the death penalty unconstitutional.
Right.
Commuted it from 20 to life. So from 1983 to 2010, he was going to the parole board in 2-year increments. 2 years is the maximum they could, what we call hit, mean deny you your release. And they denied him for all them years. The last year he went to the parole board, the wife, which is the widow of the person that he was charged with taking his life, she didn't go to the parole board to request the denial. She says, I'm no longer being involved in that process. Every 2 years it stirs up emotions in her. She get emotional. She says, listen, what's to happen is to happen. She says, I've come to the point where I've forgiven Mr. Hudson. Mr. Hudson made the parole board. Mr. Hudson went home, nearing 80 years old. Mr. Hudson died peacefully in his sleep 2 years later. At what point can we start looking at forgiveness? And when is forgiveness a topic that we can really put on the table? Where now we're looking at stigma, which you spoke about before. Can't avoid it, but we have to be able to sit down at tables like these and don't speak about it, but action it. No blame, no fear. Action and care.
Right. With that, Curtis, you got a strong follow-up.
My last piece would be to say that to the community of Barbados, I, along with Mr. Babb, who I know will be willing, it is nothing on the table for it right now, but I am prepared to venture into any community into Barbados and speak to anyone that has an ear to listen. And with saying that, I will also be saying, if you don't want me to come to your community and speak, put my face and my name on a poster and say, I am not welcome in the community. And that is how I will know it is a community that we will have a part of. That's all.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much for coming. It's been a lot to digest. I hope our audience is taking in all this information and wisdom and experiences. Yeah, one more thing.
Just one more thing. In case anybody want to reach out to us at the Alliance of Reform-Minded Entrepreneurs, our email is ARMENTREPRENEURS, which is Army Entrepreneurs, leaving out one E, at gmail.com. Or our business phone number is 243-ARMY, 243-2673.
Okay.
And our VP, Mr. Ellis, wasn't here today. He wasn't feeling too well, but we are here to do the work. We are here.
Okay.
Give us a call. Whatever is needed, give us a call.
Okay. I'll be sure to try to add that information in the description. So if you're listening, wherever you're listening or watching, you should be able to get into contact with these guys.
And it's really important and great work that you guys are doing as well.
Thank you.
Because, you could have just came out of prison and go and live your life. But you decided to help people, and that's important.
Thanks for listening to Just a Conversation. Just a fact. 82.7% of our audience on YouTube is unsubscribed. So if this episode made you think, smile, or even pause for a second, don't forget to follow the show on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're tuning in. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Just search GIS Barbados. Every follow, share, or message brings more voices to the table. Until the next time, keep the conversation going.